I have a little story for you today about confrontation. But first, there's something else I want to share with you. This is my 10th episode of Bring It to Bella. And with this episode, I'm going to broaden the subjects that I cover. I'll still talk about personal finance, but I'm also going to talk about other subjects that we deal with on a daily basis. All right, on with the story. One day, I went down the rabbit hole of random reading on the internet, and that's where I found this story. Just in case you want to read it for yourself, I'll make sure to post the link underneath the video. Okay, here's what happened. There was a woman named Megan, and she had a 3-year-old son in preschool. Well, one day after school, she was emptying out his lunchbox. And in the lunchbox was the Pringles container that she had sent in that morning. It was empty, and on it was written in black Sharpie, "Please help us make healthy choices at school." Megan had just been snack shamed. Snack shamed. Nobody likes to be snack shamed. None of us want somebody else telling us what we should or shouldn't eat. So needless to say, Megan was a little mad. Next day, she goes to school to pick up her son and she talks to the teacher. And she says, I really wish that you had come to me and talked to me personally. It felt kind of passive aggressive to write in Sharpie on his Pringles container. And the teacher said, "No, Megan, you're the one who's passive aggressive, because we sent a note home the very first day of school letting all the parents know to send in healthy snacks for the kids." Well, Megan's thinking to herself, I sent in a piece of fruit, some yogurt, a granola bar, and some Pringles. And the teacher and Megan go back and forth until finally it ends when the teacher says, "We no longer have a spot for your son in our summer program." And with that, Megan pulled her son out of school. And as I was reading this story, I could really relate to both Megan and the teacher. On the one hand, you have Megan. She's a busy mom. It makes me think of all the women in my life who are very busy moms. And they're out there taking care of their kids, and they're working, and they're taking care of their house and the community, and they're doing everything. And sometimes there may be some Pringles involved. On the other hand, you have the teacher. The teacher probably didn't make those rules up. She's just enforcing them. And we all know what happens is if you let one family or one kid do something different, well, everybody does, and then it's just chaos. So in my mind, both the teacher and Megan had a point. But at the end of the day, a little boy lost his preschool and his summer program. And I thought it was kind of sad. So I thought to myself, could there be a different way to deal with situations like this? And I thought of my dad. My dad's name was Hans Warburg. And he had this saying, kind of a half saying really. And what he would say was, "If it's not hurting anybody." My dad had a British accent. And I'll share with you how this played out. When my dad was older, he would go to a senior center during the day. And one day, he told me about a man at the senior center. There was a guy named Joe who was walking around saying he was Abraham Lincoln, and evidently firmly believed it. Well, the next day, I picked my dad up, and this is what he said to me. "Well, daughter, when I walked in today, Joe came storming up to me, and he said, 'I am Abraham Lincoln.' So I said to him, 'How do you do, Mr. President?'" Now, I wish I could tell you that I would have had the same response as my dad. But I am much more like Megan and the teacher. And I'm very literal. And so what I probably would have said is, Joe, let me tell you why and how you're not President Lincoln. But the problem when we decide that we are 100% right is there is no room for anyone else in that equation. But I can't help but wonder how things would have turned out if Megan and the teacher had approached things differently. What if Megan came to school that day and said, all right, clearly the Pringles are a problem. What crunchy snack can you recommend that I could send in with my son that'd be easy for me to pick up? What if the teacher, when Megan confronted her, apologized? What if she said, now that I think about it, that might not have been the best way to approach you. I'm sorry. Can we talk about the snack issue? After thinking about Megan and the teacher and my dad, I have this thought going forward. I'm going to weigh things. If something involves my morals or my values, I'm going to stand firm. But otherwise, if it's something that really wouldn't hurt anybody, I think I'm going to be more flexible. Because I have this idea in my head that if perhaps all of us were just a little bit more like Hans Warburg, the emotional temperature in our world at large might just start to go down a little bit. So here's a question that you can ask yourself next time someone does something that ticks you off. Here's what you can say. Would I like to be known as the person to start the next Pringlegate? Or would I like to say, how do you do, Mr. President? Thanks so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, I hope you'll click the like button. And if you're not already a subscriber, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel. This way you can see when I post new episodes. And as always, thank you for spending time with me today.